Good afternoon. My name is Melanie Hasler, and I'm a freshman at Purdue University studying agricultural communication. These past few weeks, my classmates and I have been working on a research project to further explore the career opportunities within this field of agricultural communication for our ASEC 152 class. We were required to pick a focus in this field and interview a professional individual. For me, this project was an eye-opener to the many opportunities not only within the agricultural industry, but in the field of communication. My focus for this project was on the media side of agricultural communication. Through multiple offices that I've held through different organizations, I have always been in charge of social media and communication to our members virtually. This year, I've joined ACT and I'm serving on the officer committee for this coming year, and I am beyond excited to fulfill my role and be more involved in organizations on campus. Having the opportunity to be involved in many different agricultural organizations in high school and now in college, my interest in the media side of agriculture has only grown. Today, I'm going to be discussing media and its role in AgCom, a few facts that I found interesting in my research, a short history of AgCom, and I'm going to give a short summary of my interview with John Blue from Truffle Media Networks. Through my research, I came to realize that there was so much in AgCom that I didn't know about, and I was shocked in some of my findings. When I looked into the history of AgCom, I learned that the first agriculture radio broadcast was generated from the University of Wisconsin and was transmitted in Morse code. I found this interesting because personally, I don't know Morse code, and I didn't know that people did broadcasts with it. It sparked curiosity, and I came up with some questions. Did everyone know Morse code? Was it common for people to listen to the radio in Morse code? While looking into my area interest in AgCom, I read some blogs by farmers and people in different areas of agriculture. On a blog called My Ag Ventures, Allison Boss was writing about the importance of agriculture. She went down a list of statistics, and the main one that caught my eye was that in the 1960s, one farmer supplied food for 25.8 persons in the U.S. and abroad. But today, one farmer supplies for 144. When I put that into perspective, I realized that one farmer could feed over half of my hometown high school. When diving deeper into land-grant universities, I found that agricultural communication wasn't its own major at the beginning. In Communication Research by McGraw-Hill Book Company, the author, Anderson, highlights the academic division of labor surrounding communication. He spoke on how it was shared by departments of English, speech, and journalism. Despite the fact that researchers were beginning to specialize in and prepare graduate students in this new academic field, agricultural communication research remained a truly multidisciplinary activity throughout the early 1900s. My last fact that I found interesting is regarding probably one of my favorite videos on the internet. The famous Super Bowl commercial, So God Made a Farmer. It was originally a speech given at the 1978 FFA National Convention by Paul Harvey. With collaboration from Dodge and FFA, they made a commercial to be aired at the Super Bowl. This commercial made over $1 million in the first 5 days after it was aired. It was one of the first promotions for agriculture in Super Bowl commercializing. Studying agricultural communication and looking into the history of the most important aspect of this industry provided me with the information to better develop an understanding for this profession. In modern age, this profession has expanded from newspaper boys on street corners to a wealth of information at the touch of the button. The first American newspaper, the Boston Newsletter, was printed and issued on April 24th in 1974 by John Campbell, but was not a resource for agriculturalists until 1777, when the New Jersey Gazette was founded, which was one of the first newspapers to encourage articles on farming, which was the beginning of media in agriculture. As years progressed, agriculture became more prevalent in the lives of Americans and had a stronger, more common way to reach farmers. In 1915, agricultural communication took a giant leap towards reaching all aspects of media. The first radio broadcast of weather and crop reports was aired, and in November 19, 1920, the first regular agricultural radio broadcast began. The next 3 years, agriculture on the radio was vocally broadcasted with the daily radio programs expressly for farmers, farm radio commercials, and full-time farm broadcasters. After making its way into radio programs, agriculture made its way to television, and the first regular farm television show began in Memphis, Tennessee in 1951. By the 2000s, agricultural media in the U.S. had exploded. Agricultural communication came from a few articles written by farmers in the 1700s and has expanded to over hundreds of thousands of media platforms. In the world we live in today, the media has become the largest contributor to communication, and it is our job as agriculturalists to adapt to this ever-changing industry. For this project, I had the opportunity to personally interview CEO and founder of Truffle Media Networks, John Blue. Blue comes from a background of agriculture, but his main focus going into school was computer science and technology. When questioned about how he chose agriculture communication, his response was, "I didn't choose AgComm. AgComm chose me." When I asked him to elaborate on his response, he further explained how after graduating from IU, he worked for Eli Lilly and Company, but was approached by Elanco to help with their technology. After working alongside Elanco, Blue decided to switch to the agriculture field and his own media business, which is now known as Truffle Media Networks. On a typical day, Blue is in charge of a preparation for upcoming events that are in-person and virtual. He called his job the behind-the-scenes work of all the events his company puts on. His main job is to make sure everything is planned and in order for upcoming events and to keep in contact with people involved. I asked Blue how COVID-19 has affected his job, and he said the only thing that has changed is the cancellation of events and the transition from in-person to virtual. Through my interview with Blue, I learned more about how his media company runs, and I obtained information on how to create my own podcast. Outside of the technical and physical aspect of Blue's interview, my eyes were open to the fact that agriculture is everywhere around us. He went from Indiana University to study computer science and later found himself working alongside Elanco with his own media networking company in agriculture. After researching media and ag and hearing John Blue's story, I am enthusiastic about my future career because John is a perfect example that no matter what your plan is, you will be presented with new opportunities everywhere you go. With a growing industry like agriculture, the young professionals in this field with mentors such as John Blue are the future. Thank you.